The Road to Redemption, A Tale of Governments. In the bustling city of Andoria, the people once held high hopes for their government. The newly elected officials had promised transparency, progress, and prosperity. But as time passed, it became evident that the government had fallen into a trap of corruption, inefficiency, and disregard for the public's needs. The streets of Andoria were filled with frustration. Public services were crumbling, education and healthcare systems were in disarray, and the once thriving economy was now teetering on the edge of collapse. The people, who had placed their trust in their leaders, were left with shattered dreams and a sense of betrayal. In the midst of this turmoil, a group of concerned citizens decided it was time to take action. They were a diverse group, consisting of students, professionals, activists, and everyday people who were tired of watching their city deteriorate. They knew that change wouldn't come easily, but they were determined to find a way forward. Raising awareness. The first step was to raise awareness about the issues plaguing the government. The group launched a campaign called Voices of Andoria, using social media, community meetings, and public demonstrations to highlight the problems and demand accountability. They collected stories from citizens who had been directly affected by the government's failures and shared them widely. The movement gained momentum, and soon, the voices of the people could no longer be ignored. The campaign put pressure on the government to respond, and they were forced to acknowledge the growing discontent. Proposing solutions. The next step was to propose concrete solutions. The group organized think tanks and workshops, inviting experts from various fields to collaborate on a comprehensive plan for reform. They focused on three key areas: transparency, accountability, and public participation. Transparency. They proposed the implementation of digital platforms where citizens could access information about government spending, projects, and decision-making processes. This would ensure that the government operated in a way that was open and accessible to all. Accountability. They advocated for the establishment of independent watchdog organizations that would monitor government actions and hold officials accountable for misconduct. These organizations would have the power to investigate corruption, misuse of funds, and other unethical practices. Public participation. The group emphasized the importance of involving citizens in the decision-making process. They proposed the creation of local councils where community members could voice their concerns and contribute to policy development. This would empower the people and ensure that their needs were prioritized. Building alliances. Realizing that their efforts needed broader support, the group reached out to other organizations, political parties, and influential figures who shared their vision. They built alliances with unions, non-profits, and even some government officials who were committed to reform. Together, they formed a coalition that could challenge the status quo. Advocacy and political engagement. The coalition began advocating for their proposed reforms at both the local and national levels. They organized peaceful protests, lobbied lawmakers, and used the media to keep the pressure on the government. They also encouraged citizens to participate in upcoming elections, emphasizing the importance of voting for candidates who supported their vision for change. The tide turns. The government resistance was strong, but the determination of the people was stronger. Over time, the pressure became too great to ignore. Several corrupt officials were exposed and forced to resign, and the remaining leaders were compelled to adopt the proposed reforms to maintain their legitimacy. New leaders, born out of the movement, were elected, and they prioritized the needs of the people over personal gain. The reforms were gradually implemented, leading to greater transparency, accountability, and public participation. The city's economy began to recover, and the public services that had once been in disrepair were revitalized. A new era. The road to redemption was long and challenging, but the people of Andoria had proven that change was possible. Their story served as a reminder that bad governance doesn't have to be permanent. Through collective action, persistence, and a clear vision for the future, the citizens of Andoria reclaimed their city and set it on a path toward a brighter, more just future. Andoria's journey became an inspiration to other cities and nations facing similar challenges. It showed that the way forward lies in the hands of the people, who, when united, can demarcate and create the government they deserve. The end. Edited and produced by the CEO Media Generation Entertainment. Mr. Akinmosu Am Babitunde. Thanks for watching.